Years ago, I got to meet this pretty amazing tattoo artist who was going through a period in his life that I couldn't tell you what it was about. But in hindsight, getting to sit down with this amazing dude, he was actually dealing with some issues that he's here to kind of share with us about, and how he's been able to find some ways to overcome hurdles and share with others. I'm going to sit down with I started off as just an associate and getting to meet and now turn into a friend, Matt Hodel. I appreciate you sitting down, taking the time at this, coming out to this show and being willing to discover how we can not only just build a stronger alliance to benefit the tattoo industry, but also getting to really dig down and learn more about each other. And I want to take this time to kind of share with people, your story and what you're doing today.
My story today. Well, let's talk about today. Today, I'm trying to give back. I only have a couple more years left in this industry. I'm getting ready to hit 30 years of tattooing. And I figure, there's a moment where I could have retired about 5 or 6 years from now. And I could have coasted out and been done with it and left tattooing to whoever was next. But then I had kind of a moment where I was like, I want to give back. And so really what happened was I decided that the last 10 years of my career are going to be of service to really help those who are coming up right now and give some structure and some guidance to a generation where I didn't necessarily have the same guidance. I had mentors, I had people to look up to, but really strong foundational business practices and just a healthy mindset as far as like what it takes for the longevity of a career.
Yeah, no, I love what you just said. Have strong foundational business practices. And there was something that you said to me in a conversation a couple days ago, maybe a week, that, you found yourself grinding for a good chunk of your career. And you're going to eventually pick your head up out of the grind and look around and say man, I don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
And you recognize that as not just an isolated incident, right? It seems to be an industry sickness, an industry issue, right? And that's something that you've, I think, identified as something you could give back to, or at least help people by helping them through that process, and that's your way of giving back.
It's definitely a symptom. I mean, if you ask 10 tattoo artists how many have a retirement fund, maybe one, maybe two, and then if you ask a certain generation, probably none at all.
Yeah.
And so as far as what I went through is I did what I was told. Put your head down, get good at tattooing, everything's going to work itself out.
Yeah.
Everything didn't work itself out.
Yeah.
When I lifted my head up and I compared myself to people outside of my industry, friends I'd made, cousins, my brother, and look and saw what they had at their age. And I'm like, I got a bunch of cool stories, bunch of cool photos, and an empty bank account, and now I've got a kid.
Yeah.
And so that was a real motivator. I think pain is a motivator for anybody, and especially, this is what I'm trying to save people from, is after you've been tattooing for 10 years, I want you to look up and see something and then be able to have a benchmark and be like, wow, I've made something and been able to support my family. And it isn't just about tattooing for the day. It's about this bigger picture about having a goal and having a mission in your career, not just mindlessly shooting off, but having a North Star that you can work towards. I think that's what I'm trying to do for people, especially in my one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
It's help them define what their North Star is, and not borrow someone else's, but really figure out what yours is. And I can help you kind of move towards that, because I personally didn't have that. I just worked hard, looked up, I was broke, and I was like, holy cow, there's got to be more to this. And that's what I started looking for, guidance for myself, and I found it, and now I'm trying to pass that on.
That's amazing. Yeah. And that's, I think, something I really want to kind of point to is you have found a way out of that being broke. And you just mentioned you could potentially retire in a couple of years, which, again, a majority of tattoo artists can't even say that. The old tattoo retirement is tattoo till you're dead, right?
Yeah.
And so now you've developed a platform, a community that is specifically built to start pulling people in and having these in-depth conversations. And it's called Jackpot.
Yeah. So originally I started something called Jackpot Coaching, which was supposed to be more of a one-on-one thing to help tattoo artists out.
Yep.
And as people started getting a hold of me, I started thinking, man, I could probably help a lot more people out if I had some type of online community.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that was really important to me about having an online community was engagement.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't want another forum where people were afraid to engage because they were going to get made fun of or someone's going to shoot them down. I wanted real engagement where people could see that they're not abnormal, you know, that they're going through things everyone else is going through. And my solution to that was having live meetings. So I went from Jackpot Coaching to Jackpot Tattoo Community. And in the tattoo community online, we meet every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. That's Central Time. We also have a meeting that's on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time.
Cool.
And what's happening is there's a rhythm in people's lives where they can't wait for the next meeting because we're all becoming real friends. It's a true connection inside that community. And I just wanted to keep growing to the point where hopefully that community, where no matter where you're at, no matter how isolated you feel, my goal is a year from now, a year and a half from now, to have a meeting every single day that you can tune into and get a little something to give you that energy back that sometimes the daily grind steals from us.
Yeah, no, I love the digital community. Because going to a convention, like we're at the Colorado Tattoo Convention, and you get that sense of community, camaraderie, engagement. But then you go back to tattooing, and maybe you have your shop mates. Maybe you're in a private studio. You're isolated. You're around the few. But there's something like invigorating and exciting and inspiring about being at a show. And this is like a way for people to have that virtually, right? Places to go and continually engage with people to get inspired on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think what we're talking about is that fun energy, like looking forward to a show, getting prepped for a show, you know, meeting people at the show, and then kind of comparing notes. And then going home and trying to live off that energy for a while until you get to the next show.
Yeah.
What the community does is it gives you that every single week. And it's even more so because we can follow along with each other's stories. If someone's going through a rough patch, we can ask them how they're doing or reach out to them in between the meetings, which I think is really amazing because we have community members in there that are really starting to care for one another. And we're really bonding as a group. And so this foundational group that I'm working with, it's amazing how much I'm learning from them.
Yeah. No, this is a phrase I like to use, and it seems to be a common theme in people who are leaders and truly care, is when you become a wiser type leader, you're not trying to be a know-it-all, you're a learn-it-all. You're willing to continue to learn from them and then share with them that process of how to continually grow and learn, which is allowing you to be malleable enough to provide the space in your community to allow these members to come together and start to engage in ways that you maybe didn't think would, right? I mean, we are social creatures, human beings, right? We crave community. We crave being a part of something bigger than ourselves. And with you providing that is actually fostering this type of organic nurturing, which most tattooers maybe wouldn't admit that they need it. But we do too. We need it as well.
Sure. Yeah, so I think for many years, I would give advice. And there's kind of a phrase called unwanted advice is criticism, right? And I didn't really know how to get people to ask for advice. And everything was always like me searching for a quick answer for you. And I realized it wasn't very productive. So I went back and got a certification in business coaching. And one of the things I learned was a true coach helps from the side or from behind. They don't get in front of you and pull you along. Another way to think about coaching is shared thinking. So it's just like when tattoo artists have a drawing and they're like, I need another set of eyes on this. You have a career, you need another set of eyes on this.
Yeah.
And that's what I can help you with, you know? And I think that's what I'm able to do in the group coaching as well. Is really just kind of sit back and help guide them to let people reflect and come to their own resolutions, which is pretty powerful because people have so much power within them and they have these little blocks, little barriers. They're not huge, but they're just enough to keep them from getting what they want. Everything, you know, there's a saying, fear is the enemy of curiosity. And fear is something that most people carry around with them way too long.
Yeah.
But when you get with a group of people and everyone starts unlocking these goals, someone finally says, why not me? Why can't I do that? And then bam, next thing you know, we've got members in there who had started off like nervous about tattooing, and now they like own their own shop and they're employing other people and feeding other families. And to me, that's just amazing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that again, that's a testament to you really creating something that's making sense and working, and also getting you to engage with the industry on a broader spectrum as well. I mean, as you communicated with these artists, it's continuing to perpetuate your reach, and now you're getting a little bit more holistically minded, more of a holistic view of the industry, which has you engaging in the Alliance of Professional Tattooists, which also you've taken this leadership role within the organization. You're now the chair of the APT membership committee, and I'd love to kind of hear your perspective on that so far, and maybe some of your aspirations for what we're doing as an industry organization.
Moving into the APT was pretty natural, because once you take the mindset that you're going to be of service, opportunities present themselves. So it wasn't too long into the coaching and then the Jackpot Tattoo community that I started interacting with you again, and your energy kind of influenced me to want to be even bigger than what I'm doing now, and that's helping the entire community in a way that APT can facilitate. So I didn't know exactly where I was going to fit in when I got to the meetings with APT, and I kind of bounced around a little bit, but I think my skill set with helping build Jackpot Tattoo community, onboarding members, the acquisition of members, and then what happens after you get there, that's something I think I can really help with the APT, so that when people do join, because we do need the numbers with the APT, but when you do join, I want to make sure I can help people find where their strengths are and what strengths that we can utilize to help the industry grow stronger. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is unify this entire industry. That's the North Star, right?
Yeah, 100%. You couldn't have said it better, and you're right. I mean, as people are passionate about helping the industry, being of service, they are drawn to APT. It's like a natural moth to light, right? But when they get there, they can navigate some of the hurdles that you faced about like, well, okay, this is cool, but there's a lot. I don't know where I fit in and how I can help best. And I think that I'll speak for the entire organization in saying that we're grateful that there's someone like yourself with your skill set being able to come in and help funnel and guide these members, because there's the next vice president and presidents, and there's the next community leaders in our ranks. They just need to be guided in a way so that way they can find their true place and find their North Star within the APT, which I think is truly an amazing pitch you're providing. With your current view of Jackpot Tattoo community and your experiences with the APT, maybe you could share with us any of your potential predictions moving forward. Like, what do you see some of the trends moving forward in the tattoo industry as we start to have these more in-depth conversations together? Give me some perspective on that.
Well, we have to realize that we're turning heads, and we've been turning heads for years, but now we're turning heads on a whole other level. Our industry is in the billions of dollars, and that gets people's attention. And so I think personally, outside agencies are going to come in and they're going to try to figure out how they can get a piece of the pie, whether they have our best interest or not. Again, that's why the APT is so important, is because we need to go ahead and find that foundation so we can have a voice before everyone starts picking us over.
Yeah.
But as far as the industry as a whole, people are getting into this industry through very blurred lines. And once they're inside of it, they're not really sure what to do. But they're finding a way, and they're grouping together, and things are happening. And traditional business models are kind of being challenged by these new business models. When you look at the outside of the tattoo industry, that's where you can find the most predictors, right? Like how a hair salon is ran versus maybe how a photography studio is ran versus how even a law firm is ran. Anytime you have something that has creativity and self-employment, there's always that, well, how do we all actually work together? And so we can take cues from these other industries and try to apply them. And you start seeing that with some of these business models that we're attempting to use. So the market's gonna show what works and what doesn't work. So at the end of the day, we do have these laws of nature that are gonna self-correct what the industry does. But right now, it's a crazy time to be trying all kinds of new things to see what works for the tattoo artist, but also what works for the client. Because what tattooing should be, to me, is trying to figure out what problems clients have and offering solutions for those problems. And the people who can put themselves in those positions, they're the ones that are going to be successful. I think that is the future of tattooing, is those who learn how to be of service to their clients.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, with there being such a push for automation and technology, and the ability to be highly skilled is becoming a level playing field. It's identifying what truly works outside of the market as well, and being of service, good customer service, good connection with the human, identifying successful business models, and then taking it upon yourself to navigate towards thought leaders like yourselves, to get another set of eyes on your careers, to perpetually always try and reach that next level. It's not just going to be about the tattooing anymore. It's going to be more about the connections and the business side of it. So I think it's safe to say, as a young tattoo artist is looking to kind of evolve in the industry, to also not just invest all your money in Fifth Avenue supply studios when you're buying your supplies, but also invest in your education outside of the tattoo application. Invest in business coaching, invest in community camaraderie, so that way you can grow on all spectrums in a more holistic manner. And I think that people like yourselves are going to be a beacon for that. So I definitely recommend anyone to check out Jackpot Tattoo Community, learn about Matt Hodel, what he's providing for the industry, and to connect with you on all your medias, and to at least very much, I know at least you would want to just meet them and get to know them a little bit, and if anything, point them in the right direction. I feel like that.
Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. You know, there's so many balances in everything you do. If you're a shop owner, you have to balance between being a manager and being a leader, right? If you're a practitioner, you have to balance between profit and purpose, right? You can have a purpose, but if it doesn't pay the bills, you can go into profit, but at the end of the day, it feels hollow. So trying to manage all the balances and all those nuances in the industry, there are many leaders. I'm not the only one, but I think my strength is being able to take basic business principles and synthesize them for us tattoo artists, that we can actually use them right away. Not this take a year off to learn. It's like right away you can start doing things that'll help facilitate growth in yourself and in your business.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. So I definitely agree that it isn't going to be you. It's not going to be me. It's going to be the collective whole of the industry finally seeing the light that it's time for us to perpetuate ourselves beyond just the tattooing, recognize that one day they could lift their head up, look around them, and see that they have good support for their family, a retirement plan waiting for them, a vacation fund, and know that they've been of service to their clients and customers. And I think that's truly what you're all about, Willie.
Yes.
It's a good place to end. So I do appreciate everything you're doing, Matt. I appreciate listening to you get engaged with these artists in the show. For those of you who met this weekend, I'm sure you're going to be hearing from them, and more than likely building a great friendship, because I'm building a great friendship with Matt as well. So thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Ben. Same here.
Thank you.